Okay, welcome back. This is episode 2, part 2 of our Great Turkish War Skirmish series. So, when I left off, when our little Austrian task force left off, we had a pretty serious turnaround by these two remaining cavalry. They managed to push these Tatars back. They were going to try and escape off the board, but they were pushed back. Still have their captives with them. Like I mentioned in the last video, I'm not sure entirely how to handle them yet, but I think if the Tatars can be reduced to below half strength, we'll say that the captives are able to escape. And so, as it stands right now, to be honest, I lost track of the turn count, but we've got our two Austrian cavalry left here. We've got our Ottoman Spahi commander there with the blue and orange striped shield, Orhan Bey. He's online here. Now, he's got some Janissaries, but they don't really want to follow his orders, so we're not sure how that's going to turn out yet. And the Austrians are almost into taking the middle of this small Hungarian town. They've captured one of the guns and driven the crew off. This is the officer, so I just put him off to the side to represent that he's fleeing. Maybe he's pointing and saying, attack. So we've got our Austrian Lieutenant Unterleutnant von Leopold there. He's got some militia shot with him, militia pikemen there in red. And then he's also got another section of line infantry off to the side. They might try and flank into the village if they need to, but we'll see if they can even get there or if they even need to. So I explained some of the objectives at the beginning, but his main goal, this is a punitive expedition, and our lieutenant's main goal is to capture both of these main guns because the Austrian main army is on its march to Buda, and we're in the 1680s, so the Great Turkish War after the Battle of Vienna in 1683. I believe Buda was captured by the coalition in 1686. I should know this, but I don't remember off the top of my head. But at any rate, somewhere in that time frame. So we will continue, and we left, it was the Ottoman turn. And we'll get rolling on the Janissaries because I think they want to get into formation and start shooting. So we will see if they can activate. I think they're going to have to do another. I think they're going to have to do another move activation first. Now, one thing about these rules. Pikeman's Lament is it's kind of designed for individual figures and there's no firing arcs, so I think you can kind of be loose, and as long as the miniatures are within 3 inches, that's considered they're within coherency. So I think I'm just going to make a slight adjustment, and if they're within 3 inches, they're not going to, they don't have to activate for a full move because they're just getting into position basically. So I'm just going to shift them a little bit, and then I think they're going to take some shots at the oncoming Austrian pike. Okay, so our Janissaries fired into the pikemen, trying to push them off that gun. But pike are pretty tough in this game and have stamina 3, so our local pikemen took two casualties from that, and they will have to test for morale. And since they haven't taken any casualties, they got a 9. And because they have the lieutenant has rolled for a brave trait, so they get a +2 to the morale check, and they need a 4 on morale, so they're fine. They just stay on their position. And then I think one thing I forgot to do is we have to try and rally the wavering Tatars, which is something I have not actually had to do in this game before, I don't think, in the times or at least the times I've played it. So I will explain that quickly. Okay, so our Tatars just managed to pass their morale check, so they rolled a 6, and normally they would have to subtract 2 because they've taken 2 casualties, but they have a +1 because their officer is there, officer's unit's right there, so they got a 5, so they just passed. So they lose the wavering marker, but they can't do anything else this turn, which will hopefully be good for the Austrian cavalry because they can charge again and try and take out the rest of those Crimeans. And then we will try and test for the Ottoman cavalry, the Spahi, to see if they can move up. Okay, so that was it for our Turks. Cavalry tested successfully. They just galloped up. They're probably not too happy that they're kind of stuck behind these infantry. They probably want to try and get up and get into attack the musketeers, but hopefully that pike will dissuade them. So I think Lieutenant von Leopold, hopefully he will be able to roll orders successfully. He seems to be able to move up, and they'll be able to seize this moment while the Turks are kind of disordered. Okay, nothing too major, just Austrians moving into position. Our militia shot, they didn't shoot or move or anything, just sticking behind the pike, because I think they realize it's the pikeman's moment to press the attack, and hopefully they will move in, and then our other unit of line infantry keeps advancing around the side, just in case there's a twist of fate, and hopefully they can try and get in to cover that flank. But we also have the remaining Turkish cavalry. I don't know if they want to charge into some pikes, though. That would probably be very foolish. So, on our Ottoman turn now, I think we're going to try and see if the Janissaries can shoot down those pikemen. Okay, that was a very fast, uneventful non-turn because Janissaries rolled a 3, and I said in part 1 as sort of a flavor rule, Janissaries don't like taking orders from Ottoman cavalrymen, so they get a -1 to their activations, even though they're elite, and I think they see those oncoming pike, and they don't want to try and shoot, and so now we're back to Austrians, and I think our pikemen are just going to move up and attack. Okay, so for this attack, kind of an unusual twist of fate. The Janissaries took 1 casualty from the pike, but the Janissaries rolled a really good defense roll, and the pike took 2 more casualties, so they lost. I'll just remove the back row. So they've lost 4 men in total. So now our pikemen, unfortunately, have to retreat 3 inches, and we have to take morale tests. So the Janissaries were pretty good with their swords, I guess, in this little battle. Okay, so our pike are now wavering after that attack, and we'll see how our line infantry activate. Okay, so as it stands, our 1 line infantry unit, they moved up to the wall. They're going to take up firing positions and shoot next activation. Militia shot just moved up. Now the section led by Lieutenant von Leopold, he rolled a 12, so he got a I forget what the rules call it, but it's like a heroic action essentially. So he moved, and then they're going to be able to make another activation, and maybe they'll be able to shoot into the Janissaries. So we're going to try and see what he does. they can make a heroic shot into the Janissaries after the pike got rebuffed. And they roll an 8, so they're able to fire their muskets. Okay, so Janissaries took, so Lieutenant von Leopold's unit fired into them. They took 2 additional casualties, and now they're going to have to roll for morale. And they rolled a 9, and so they took 3, and I think shot test for morale on a 4. So they're able to stay in the fight. And I almost forgot about our cavalry back here, so they're going to dice and try and attack the Tatars again. 4, so too low, so they don't do anything, and now it's back to the Ottomans, so I guess they weren't able to pull this off like they wanted to, so I think since we're over here, I think the Tatars are going to... I think, unfortunately, the Tatars are going to, if they dice successfully, they're going to make a break for it and get off the table. Double 1s. Okay, so I think that is not good. Okay, so you can never re-roll a double 1, it says. And we're going to see, okay, they got a 1 on the, let's look at the effects charts. So, your senior officers need some of your units for another mission and call them back to command. Immediately remove at least 4 points of units from the board. Your choice, the unit counts as routed for your company morale or mission goals. Removal of units may only happen once a game. If you roll a 1 a second time, the unit you just tried to activate will automatically waiver due to dubious orders from senior officers. Okay, so that was kind of fortuitous, I guess. And I think what we'll say in the scenario, the Tatars still cut and run, but they left their captives behind. They're trying to get out of there as quickly as possible, and the count is routed, like it says in the rules. So I think those prisoners are pretty happy that they were able to escape. And that ends the Ottoman turn, and back to Austrian, so we'll see if those pike can pass their waiver test. Okay, so this is one of the great things about these, playing these games solo with, random dice rolls. So our pike managed to recover, but they can't do anything, so they've just recovered, they've rallied. But our lieutenant section fired their muskets into the Janissaries, and they took additional casualties. So I removed 1 base, so they've taken 6 casualties total. So they're down to 6 men, and they rolled a negative on their morale check. So now I think that means they are routed from the table, which is going to be a great move. Hopefully that will mean our lieutenant gets a pretty big honor award and a major commendation from his commander. Okay, so our remaining Janissaries, just checking the rules, our remaining Janissaries have decided they've had enough of this. They don't like taking commands from Orhan Bey, this cavalryman, and they are routed from the table, and they've run off into those hedgerows that border the village. So they are routed, and I think we're going to call it there. And so this has been a pretty incredible victory for our little scrappy Austrian lieutenant, kind of a minor noble, I think, but trying to make his way in the world. And so, as it stands, with his little task force, with taking very few casualties, managed to capture this village. Our Turkish commander, Turkish officer, Orhan Bey, he's going to run. He's going to flee. Just get out of there and hopefully be able to reconstitute some forces and strike back. And so, I think Lieutenant von Leopold has completed both of his objectives. So, they have taken both guns. That's a big bounty. So that's 4 honor points for him. And then the captives, worth 2 honor just to rescue them. I was gonna, like I said in the first video, I was gonna make it a little bit more, but I just didn't want the experience points getting kind of crazy. But I think what I might do for our next scenario, we have this Ottoman artillery commander, so maybe he will give the Austrians, well, really the coalition army, some kind of intelligence for the next battle. Maybe since he's getting stranded by the cavalry commander, he will want to talk. And for our next game, I think that will mean our Austrians are going to have some cannons with them to go after the Turkish guns and be able to go toe-to-toe with them artillery-wise. And our cavalry, our 2 cavalrymen who did a great job, had a pretty big upset victory. They're going to attend to the captives there, and I think they are going to be. I think we'll keep them in the force for the next part of the campaign, and we will give them some, maybe make them elite gallopers this time to show that they've been battle hardened, and they are going to reconstitute and get some new men and really go toe-to-toe with the Turks. And so they've captured this village that they're going to have as a base, hopefully, little supply stop, and I'm sure, and the local villagers are going to be happy that the Austrian forces have taken up refuge. Hopefully they don't drink too much of their wine and misbehave themselves. We'll see. All right, so that's the part 2. So that wraps up game 2. And I'm going to come up with a scenario for game 3. I'm not sure yet, but if you have any suggestions, it'll probably be a bigger battle. I think keeping with the theme of escalating the size. Both of these, just so if people want to try Pikeman's Lament, which are the rules we were using today, the rules recommend a 24-point company as like a standard game. And this game, it was 24 versus 22 points. I think the Turks had like a couple less, give or take, but I can't remember exactly. So maybe we'll bump it up to 28 points for the next one. But again, if you all have any suggestions in the comments, let me know. And then that puts Lieutenant Leopold, he'll be up to 16 honor points. I'll put that in my notes. And then Orhan Bey did not get any honor this game because he lost. But he's at 19 honor from his pretty serious routing of the Austrians in game 1. So, and taking those captives as well. So that's the video. I hope you guys liked it, and thanks for watching.